anything to add to this? I just want to make sure that you get your word in here on Dueling-Citizens.
Oh, sure. I've had a pleasure, listening to this stuff, but I will add a couple of things here, Mike. By the way, just really taking note here, this is an exclusive to Americanuck Radio. Gordon Kesler here. Exciting. It's exciting to me. I was joking. I think I might have mentioned it to you in the pre-show pre-show prep, was that we have 3 dual citizens in the room right now around the campfire. What are the odds of that? We got Mike Phillip, we got Greg Meakin, we got Gordon Kesler, and we're all 3 dual citizens.
Americanuck.
Pretty exciting. I did have one question for Gordon.
Well, it's pretty dangerous right there.
What was that? Sorry.
Right there. three dual citizens on the same conversation.
That's
like
right.
6 people.
Not to mention type A personalities. I tell you what, they say this has been so much fun. I have a serious question for Gordon, because this has been red meat inside information, and Gordon Kesler knows more about the internal workings of the Canadian politics than probably anyone on the planet. And I wanted to ask you a serious question here, Gordon. Fast forward to 2022, 23, and 24. In Alberta, Mike and I have talked about this a lot. Now, in Alberta, our theory is that this is all about education. That if people, for any reason, think that Alberta 51 or Alberta USA is not a good idea, it's simply that they haven't gone through the checklist of benefits. And there are literally dozens of benefits like you touched on earlier. That said, knowing that education is the key to, of course, prior to the referendum, there'll be education, of course, giving folks clear knowledge of the issues. What do you think? What do you think about the current temperature in Parliament? Again, I don't even know Canadian politics well. In Alberta, the existing politicians that are there right now, and I'm sure a few of them will end up listening in on this. But what is your feeling that when Alberta 51 movement continues from the critical mass where it is right now, it's a movement. This is not a conversation anymore. As proof in the pudding is this radio show right here. So this is a movement, and then I think we all know with any movement, then at some moment, a tipping point happens that it becomes a thing where it's actually going to become reality, even to the deniers back east, for example. What do you think the temperature will be, Gordon, once the writing's on the wall that Arizona, I would say Arizona 48, Alberta 51, but that Alberta is going to be making a serious move and a final move to be Alberta 51. Of course, once the invitation comes from the U.S. Senate and stuff, there'll be tremendous momentum. What do you think the reaction will be? What percentage and or number of folks, Gordon, do you think will say, you know what? We're out of the closet now. The press can't shut us down. We'll be Alberta 51 also. Jump on board. What do you think the temperature out there is?
Well, I'm not too sure. I talk to, I get nutrition, but a majority of them. And southern Alberta is really, it's been, that's where most of the population of southern Alberta migrated from the United States. So the southern part of the province, I think you would get a huge majority on board. And a lot of their ancestors came from here. I think the northern part of the province, it would take more education. However, this is a big however, if Danielle Smith fails to take away the power of the federal government, Ottawa, if she doesn't curb that power soon, like within the next 3 months, she doesn't step forward and show the world that she's serious about curbing Ottawa's power, I think that a good percentage, well over 60%, would be willing to say, it's time. And I think if that percentage is at least 60%, I think the rest of them would follow with a good campaign to explain the opportunities if Alberta becomes when Alberta becomes a 51st state. Once those things are pointed out, and they're glaring. They are absolutely glaring. And when they realize it means that they're going to be able to preserve their freedom, which should be foremost in their minds if they're concerned about their children and grandchildren and so on, I think they'll grab hold of it and be delighted to be a part of the United States.
I think so too. They just haven't really been presented